I'm going to make one of them. Have a look at the sketch. The coat is going to be oversized. I'm going to extend the width of it by 20 centimeters on each side. You can make it as wide as you want. We need to use the measurement which is bigger. If your hips are bigger than the bust, take the hips measurement, and vice versa. In my case, I'm going to use the bust measurement. It's bigger than my hips. I also need to know the length of the back. The width of this piece of fabric is 150 centimeters. The sleeves are going to be long. Probably I will even have to cut them. After watching these videos, you will be able to make a cape coat without any problems. I want you to be creative. You can change the design however you want. I'm going to make a V-neck, and you can make it round. Or you can make a stand collar and a zipper. You can extend the sleeves so that they reach the bottom. It would also look very beautiful. What is important is that the coat should be oversized. Such garments are in trend now. I want to be stylish. That's why I've decided to make this cape coat. It is going to be edged with the bias binding. This is not a garment for some special occasion. It is suitable for going for a walk, or putting it on when taking a trip to a countryside. I'm not going to use any complicated techniques. So the bias binding will be enough for edging the garment. It is going to be pretty casual. My bust measurement is 114 centimeters, so the half of the measurement is 57 centimeters. I'll write it down. The length of the back is 40 centimeters. To be exact, it's 41. But we can use the approximate figures. You'll understand why we need this measurement. In this video, I'll show you how to make a pattern and how to cut the garment. In the next video, I'll show you tacking and the first fitting. I'd like to tell you about the different designs of cape coats. You can make them with the hoods or without them. You can combine a cape coat with a scarf made of the same fabric. It would look unusual and emphasize the fact that the coat is oversized. Or you can combine it with something else. You can make pin tacks on the bottom. It would also look beautiful. In this case, it would be of an interesting form. I hope that you like this idea. Let's get down to work. Have a close look at the fabric. I need to draw a mark here. It marks the 7th neck bone. Next, I need to measure and mark 40 centimeters down from this point. Notice that I'm not using a ruler. I need to draw a line here. This is the waistline. The length of the cape coat on the back will be 103 centimeters. I need to measure and mark this measurement as well. I would like to make an overcast at the bottom. I will probably have to edge the front with the facing. But the bottom should be overcast. It will make the garment stronger. 8 centimeters would be enough for an overcast. The length of the garment from the 7th neck bone to the bottom is 103 centimeters, and I also need to add 8 centimeters for an overcast. I need to draw a bottom line here. This line should be straight. Next, I need to draw this line. Have a close look at the sketch once again. A quarter of my bust measurement is 28 centimeters. I need to measure and mark this distance here, and then extend it by 18 centimeters. I'm going to make a very loose, oversized cape coat. 18 centimeters would be enough. I remind you that I'm drawing the side seam now. Such oversized coats are in trend now. I need to draw a line parallel to the fold. Well done. The width of the back neckline is 8 centimeters. And it should also be 3 or 3.5 centimeters high. I can draw the back neckline now. I would like you to understand that you should not waste time thinking too much. This is a simple 3-piece garment. The back is going to be one piece, and the front will be made of the 2 details. This is the shoulder top. Next, I need to draw a shoulder seam. It will be combined with the sleeve. This line should be slightly biased. You can change the slope of the line. Draw it however you want. In my case, the slope will be 8 centimeters. I've measured and marked 8 centimeters, so now I can draw the line. I recommend you making the shoulder seams. Have a look at the bottom once again. It's placed 8 centimeters below this line. I need to measure and mark 35 centimeters up from the bottom. This is the point I'm trying to draw. This is where the sleeve should end. Next, I need to connect these points with a beautiful smooth line. That's it. The pattern is ready. It took me about 5 minutes to make it. This is the pattern for the back. Next, I need to make a pattern for the front. Have a look at the sketch once again. Let's repeat everything once again. I took my biggest measurement and added 18 centimeters to it. You can extend it even more, it's up to you. I'd like to make the garment oversized. I've drawn the bottom line and extended the length to make the overcast. The back neckline is 8 centimeters wide and 3.5 centimeters high. I've also drawn the shoulder slope combined with the sleeve. I also defined the point of the end of the sleeve. It's placed 35 centimeters above the bottom. I can start cutting now. There will be no seam allowance on the neckline, because I've taken it into consideration when drawing the neckline. But I need to add some for the seam allowance for the shoulders. The bottom will be edged with an overcast. There is actually no need to add the seam allowance for the side seams.
Потому что у меня тут вполне себе хватает ткани.
As I've said, you can extend the sleeves to the bottom and then make the side seams.
Вот так вот. А потом вот
It would also look very nice.
останутся все эти воланы, тоже нормально, ничего страшного в этом нет. Да, вот тут старайтесь ткань не
Try making large sleeves. They would look very unusual.
Тут что-то ж должно быть. Выкройка готова.
This line should run 5 or 6 centimeters above the waistline.
5, 6,
I'm going to stitch the details on this line.
зашивать.
Have a look at the sketch.
Здесь у нас с вами, видите, отсюда сюда.
This is where this line is.
И выше еще немножко. Вот у меня как бы
I've extended it for 10 centimeters above the waistline.
я буду зашивать вот так вот. Вот так, сантиметров 10. Вот у меня
This is where the side seam will be placed.
строчка, которая у меня вот здесь нарисована. Вот она.
The back is ready.
Сейчас начинаем кроить переднюю часть. У меня кусок ткани 3 метра.
Let's move on to working with the front.
С другого целого конца,
This piece of fabric is 3 meters long.
то есть вверх плечо,
I'm going to put the front
чтобы вот этот
on the other end of it
остался вот тут
to save this long piece for making a scarf.
Я положила одну, потом в том же направлении другую, я бы измельчила вот это все, у меня бы не было. А вдруг я захочу,
I don't recommend you wasting the fabric.
мне будет.
It's always better to have an extra piece of it.
И разложила в другую сторону. Смотрим сюда. Вот
I put the back on the fabric,
поднимаем сантиметра на 2. Но поднимаем только
and I need to mark 2 centimeters above the shoulder top.
верхнюю вот эту часть.
Do not forget about the balance extension, it's very important.
Точки,
Connect this point with the sleeve.
точка плеча у меня
I've raised the shoulder top for 2 centimeters.
от этой
Next, I need to measure and mark 8 centimeters down from this point. This is the neck base.
точки 8. Я имею
Next, I need to measure and mark 25 centimeters down from this point.
я хочу открываться. Вот,
To draw the neckline,
ну чуть поменьше.
I'll change it a bit.
Такой вот.
The front neckline will be pretty deep.
Дальше мне надо вот это
I need to cut the neckline.
до конца. Смотрим.
Have a look at what I'm doing.
Смотрите,
This is the center front. Do not forget to add 1 centimeter for the seam allowance here.
я просто
I can cut it as well.
середину. Девочки, раскроите.
After watching this video,
Просмотрите
you will be able to cut a similar coat in just 10 minutes.
потолок уже. Купите заранее ткань,
To make such coat, you need to use any fabric you like and the bias binding.
на межсезонку, просто хорошая.
Well done.
Дальше ничего не надо думать.
The rest of the details should be cut according to the back.
Чем отличается передняя
The front and the back differ by the shoulder slope and the neckline.
точка плеча и глубиной выреза?
The shoulder top is high on the front.
Одинаково.
The other details match.
Тебе мозг. Просто берешь и режешь.
Be very careful and attentive.
Хочет резать, попробуй другие.
It's better to use sharp scissors when cutting the strong fabrics.
Жесткая.
It's pretty hard to cut the selvage. You can see that even though the scissors I'm using are sharp, it's pretty hard to cut the fabric I'm working with.
Шла. Ну, подумала, что ко мне это точно не относится, а оно, видите, как относится.
You can see that there's a pretty big piece of fabric left.
Развернула с разных сторон. У меня здесь
I will be able to make a scarf of it.
И получились вот они. Отлично.
Well done.
Хочет сделать ее,
You can make a cape coat with a stand collar.
пожалуйста.
You can make it with a hood.
Ходили капюшон переходящий.
Combine a collar with a bow.
Канале, пожалуйста. Кто-то сделает стойку,
Use your imagination.
кто-то будет
You can change the design however you like.
любой вариант, любой капюшон, любое все что угодно, абсолютно очень хорошо подходит к такому.
I can move this piece of fabric aside.
Выбираю. Я хочу посмотреть
Let's have a look at the cut details.
это место. Там, где у нас как бы
Have a look here.
уже крыло,
I need to make a notch here.
другую насечку. Почему? Потому что это мы будем шить изнутри.
The lower part of the side seam will be stitched from the wrong side and the upper part from the right side.
Ну, я надсекла, так надсекла, конечно.
Do not make two big notches.
Всё аккуратно. Готово.
The back and the front details are ready.
Передняя часть, задняя часть, центр переда, центр спины, сгиб. Если бы мы положили вот так по одной линии, смотрите. Вот.
Put the details on the edge of the table to check if they are accurate.
Вот просто бы согнули, то у нас вообще была бы накидка из одной детали. Но я решила
If there was a fold here,
сделать, что он
the coat will be one piece.
немножко. Так что
As for me, I prefer making shoulder seams.
пальто накидку. Не боимся таких.
I'm ready for taking. I'll show it to you in the next video.
Я не призываю прямо
Do not be afraid of unusual garments.
взять и
As I've said, oversized clothes are in trend now.
нет. Ну что-то одно
I don't really like them, but why not have one oversized fashionable garment? First of all, I want to pay attention to this line. I remind you that I will stitch the side seam up to this point.
Если это будет больше,
You can move it lower, but not higher.
стеснять
Do not stitch it up to the underarm.
в сторону и начали сметывать.
Before I start taking, I need to trace this line to the other side. I can't wait to see the result. I can move the sketch aside.
Просто чтобы
I recommend you tracing this line to the other side right away.
сделать все сразу. Вот наши отметки,
I'm drawing the line according to the pins.
наши булавочки. Ну, вы возьмите, пожалуйста, линейку,
Of course, it's better to use a ruler.
поэтому я вот так вот нахально делаю.
That's it.
Ну, и мне
It seems to me that the sleeves are going to be too long.
будет медленно.
I will probably have to cut
Я
them.
хочу до сюда. Думаю, что я его потом вот так обрежу. Но это я когда
I'll decide it after the first fitting.
тогда обрежу. Как бы заранее я не рискую обрезать.
I need to join the details face to face and start taking the shoulder seams.
Детальки передней части нашей накидки складываю. У меня лицо
It's not hard to prepare the garment for taking.
к лицу. Складываю и начну сметывать с плечей. Отлично. Приметаю здесь.
I'll tack one side first and then the other one.
Пока пусть так лежит. Надо ж так еще
Make several stitches at the beginning so that the seam does not open.
Делим, например, все рассыпалось моментально. Нужно сметать хорошо, особенно начало шва. Сделать несколько стежков. Давно у меня не было таких накидок. Ткань
This fabric
мягкая,
is suitable neither for winter nor for summer.
это не буклет,
It's demi-season.
в стиле Шанель, это не знаю в стиле чего.
I'm glad that I've decided to make this unusual cape coat of it.
Мы ее купили в Париже,
I bought this piece of fabric in Paris.
потом передумали. И
I was going to sew something else of it, but I think that this is the best option.
меня, что из нее шьют пальто-накидку. Сейчас
When the first side is ready, I'll move on to taking the other side.
Вторую половину. Вы
I remind you that I'm taking the shoulder seam, which is combined with the sleeve.
еще переходящее в рукав крыло, не знаю, как это назвать.
You do not need a basic pattern to make such garment. It's very convenient.
Теперь, пока у
I
нас
can start taking the side seam now.
изнанка от насечки до насечки сметываем вниз.
Be very careful.
Ну, у меня,
The
конечно,
notches have to match.
насечка как-то получилась.
I'm taking the lower part of the side seam from the wrong side. The upper part of the side seam will be tacked from the right side.
Все точно.
Please be very attentive.
Также мы сейчас будем работать со второй половиной. Также
The order of actions is very important.
с изнанки.
The second side will be tacked absolutely the same way.
Все.
The first side is ready. I'm going to tack the other side off the camera. Have a close look at the table. I've tacked the lower parts of the side seam and the shoulder seams. Next, I need to tack the upper part of the side seam. I'll do it from the right side.
Не нарисовано, поэтому
But first I need to make a spacing seam. It will be much more convenient to tack the seam in this case. I'm making the spacing seam on the wrong side,
чтобы я сейчас выверну.
so that I will be able to tack the seam from the right side accurately.
Конечно, в идеальном варианте
The shoulder seam will be edged with an overlocker, and the sleeve bottom will be edged with the best binding.
кантовать, но это все как
But first, I need to try the garment on.
примерить. Сначала посмотреть,
As I've said, the sleeves are probably too long.
если я вообще не знаю, мне эта длина подходит или нет. Мне надо сначала определиться. Выворачиваю. Так, выворачиваю.
Let's turn the garment right side out. I need to join the edges.
Вот она,
Here's the spacing seam.
вот она красавица.
I'll outline it for you to see everything clearly.
Вот она.
I need to tack this part of the side seam. Let's get down to work.
Красиво, ровно. Сметываем. Аккуратненько.
I remind you that I'm taking the side seam.
Кусочек мы будем прошивать. Если
If I decide that this seam is too long,
нам покажется,
I'll make it shorter after the fitting.
просто занизим. Нам там
The cape coat is supposed to be pretty loose.
и создавала вот тут вокруг нас такой объем.
I'm going to tack the other side the same way.
Точно так же.
I have already made a spacing seam. I only need to join the edges of the sleeve carefully.
Идеально. И сметаю.
Here's the spacing seam.
Складываю
Join the details
красивенько. Все выкладываю.
and then start taking.
Начинаю сметывать. Да, вот моя ниточка. Когда краешко,
When sewing a garment, according to your basic pattern, you can predict the result.
когда краешко
But in this case, you can only imagine it.
точно знаешь результат,
You'll see it at the fitting.
а здесь не знаешь, как она будет сейчас выглядеть. Так вот ты в голове все сообразил, как тебе там лучше сделать, и вот результат узнаем, когда сейчас оденем на себя. Открыла фэшн-канал, и там
I can't wait to try the garment on.
в тренде что? Большие руки
If you are into style and fashion, you know that huge sleeves are in trend now.
я не вынесу. В тренде
The cape coat is going to be pretty stylish.
но это хотя бы нам подходит.
Actually, various garments are in trend. Both tight and oversized, made of different textures, colors.
Кружевное, широкое, узкое. Поэтому наши
Think about the garments you're going to sew and choose the designs which suit you.
только замечательно с
The cape coat is almost ready. I only need to make an overcast.
готово, кроме подгибки низа.
I've tacked the lower part of the side seams and the shoulder seams from the wrong side and the upper parts of the side seams from the right side.
Мое пальто готово.
I need to make an overcast.
Я заметаю низ. Чуть-чуть вот так отмечу 16 сантиметров.
To do that, I need to measure and mark 16 centimeters up from the bottom on the wrong side.
Мое чудесное пальто.
When I take the overcast, I will try the cape coat
Я
on.
его увижу. Какими-нибудь стежками.
This is just a temporary seam.
Соединение. Ничего здесь не надо тщательно выкладывать. Ну, я не буду
I'm taking it fast.
таким образом.
I don't want to waste time now.
Ну вот, я одела на себя. Я уже
I'll take the overcast off the camera.
пока я мерила, всем очень
Have a look at me.
Мне самой, кстати,
I'm wearing
когда
the
вы
tagged garment.
руку, смотрите, кажется, что у меня длинный рукав, но я ж вот так его буду немножечко вот так вот, чтобы он вот
You know what? I like the sleeves.
мне очень
They
нравится,
seem to be long,
потому что это очень
but
чувствую, что я
I can wear them this way.
тут я сделала еще шарф, сейчас вам покажу. Я думаю, что здесь
I actually like the cape coat. It's very comfortable.
может быть что угодно. Если бы у нас
I'd like to make a scarf of the same fabric.
прорезы и шел
As for the fastener, you can either make a zipper,
прижимал
or hooks and ties,
свободно,
or even loops and buttons.
красиво. Так что вариант
You can make a waistband from one side seam
было бы у меня
to
вот
tight
до низа тоже
the front and leave the back loose.
смотрите, как хорошо. Но я еще
You can make the sleeves go down to the very bottom.
якобы у
Be
меня,
creative.
видите, он у меня
I've got a long piece of fabric to make a scarf.
20. Мне нравится.
It's 2.4 meters long.
Не боимся таких
I think that it looks stylish.
не боимся таких пальто.
I like it.
Очень комфортно, очень
Do not be afraid of loose, oversized cape coats. They're very comfortable.
не будет такой большой работы.
The best thing about such garment is that you don't need a basic pattern to make it,
Такую вещь я буду носить это
and it doesn't take a lot of time to make it.
Когда
I'm sure that these tutorials will be useful. It will be a pleasure for me to wear such cape coat.
всегда в одном
I like garments of different style, different length, and different designs. I can't wear the garments of the same design every day.
в таких
I like to be different.
иногда хочется
Of course, I prefer neat classic coats, but sometimes I want to wear something unusual and stylish.
булок для поездок,
Such capes are suitable for walks and trips.
для вечера.
I really hope that you like the design.
Такие накидки
I've already shown you how to make this cape coat.
будем делать или не будем видеть. Но
It took me 2 videos to show it to you.
вот готовое изделие. Смотрим сюда внимательно.
We've decided not to make a scarf, just the cape.
Конечно, я сниму потом
Have a close look at
на
it.
столе. Что хочу сказать? Я
Later,
сама
I will take it off and show it to you in detail.
накидкам и всем таким прочим, но
I should say that I was always wary of capes and ponchos,
посмотрела,
but when I saw this cape coat
понравилось его девочке.
and tried it on,
Заканчиваем
I loved it.
для образца.
I wasn't planning to wear it, but it's very comfortable.
Я готова ходить в нем по городу.
I don't want to take it off.
Честно говорю, мне нравится. Смотрите, как комфортно.
I think that it's very stylish.
Такой свитерочек, да?
I can combine it with long gloves or mittens.
Свитерочек. И, пожалуйста, вот как классно. Тут и сумка,
It would look good with a bag.
и вот видите, как
I
хорошо.
can also wear it undone.
Вот так вот враспашку. Видите, да? Просто великолепно.
This cape coat is trendy.
Мне нравится изделие, поэтому я
A lot of fashion brands have capes in their collections.
пальто накидка. И, конечно,
I'm sure that you will like this idea
готовое изделие.
and try to sew such unusual garments yourselves.
Это же о чем-то говорит, что значит говорит о том, что людям интересно. Так что вот, здесь можете сделать,
Be creative.
можете пробить петли, сделать
Make buttons.
Можете ничего не делать вот так вот, как у меня. Вот
You can make a belt the way I showed you, or a different way.
я покажу. Можно не вырезать.
I'll show you how the belt was sewn.
Горло можно делать со стойкой.
You can make different necklines
Чем
or collars.
угодно, абсолютно с чем угодно.
You can even make a hood. It's all up to you.
Пальто, то к нему нельзя то или это, или вот
You can make pockets if you want to.
карманы, пожалуйста.
The old rules about pockets and loose garments do not work.
Карманы. Мне кажется, точно оно может обойтись без карманов.
I'm happy that the cape coat is finally ready.
Внимательно.
Have a close look at it once again. I like it. I like the design.
Я, конечно, никаких футболок
I'm not going to make any buttons.
не буду. Я не буду его одевать в то время,
The waistband is enough for me.
как на улице. А вот так появится
The cape is very comfortable.
раз, одел, завязал,
It is suitable for going for a walk
гуляй. Или взял с собой
or taking it for a trip to nature.
к осени, на море что-то надо брать,
It's perfect for the cool weather.
удобно. И так как вид городской одежды,
I am very pleased with the result.
пожалуйста, смотрите,
And I would like to show you this garment in detail.
вещь дошили. Сейчас я сниму и покажу вам на столе, как все сделано. Сделано самым
We used the most simple techniques for edging it.
без никаких там ухищрений.
There is nothing complicated about it.
Обработано и все. Сейчас я вам покажу. Здесь
There are 4 belt holes here,
наружу выходит, а здесь он вот
2 on the front and 2 on the back.
4 петли сзади, 4 в передней части, 2 сзади, 2
I'll show you everything in detail.
перед нами пальто накид.
Have a look at the cape coat.
Показать, как это выглядит сзади. Вот тут у нас
There are 2 holes here.
тканью
I'll show you how they were edged.
стороны. По спинке вот так идет пояс и уходит внутрь, проходит вот
The belt is on top of the coat on the back and the front.
вперед.
It is inside on the sides.
В боковом шве. Вот здесь мы с вами делали
I would like to remind you that I made a notch in this point.
тут надсечку. Это
The side seam was sewn on the wrong side,
а вот отсюда
and it extended upwards on the face.
продлена у нас вот докуда. Все есть в цифрах.
You can find all the details in one of the previous videos.
Все будете знать.
There are links in the description of this video. There are also 2 holes on the front.
Пояс. Вот так.
This is how the cape coat looks like from the right side. And let's have a look at the wrong side.
У нас не было здесь таких подбортов, больших тканей не было и не нужно. Вот такая
The facing is not wide.
тачка.
It's pretty tight.
Не долевая, она вырезана по
It's not bias.
форме выреза.
It has the shape of the neckline.
Лук и пришить.
It was doubled with the interfacing material to prevent it from stretching. The facing was edged with an overlocker and sewn by hand.
Точно обтачка.
The bottom was overcast the same way.
Закрыта вот такой обтачкой, которая обработан край борта.
The belt is very simple. It's 6 centimeters wide.
Ширина какая?
Let me check it.
6
Right.
сантиметров в готовом виде.
What about the length?
Ну и длина
It's about 2 meters long.
6 сантиметров на 2 метра.
There's nothing complicated about it. The belt loops were edged with the facing either.
Они
Have a close look at them.
внутри обработаны.
They look very neat. There are 4 belt loops, 2 on the back and 2 on the front.
Пояс внутрь, а впереди уходит.
That's it. The garment is very simple and unusual at the same time. I am pleased with it.
На пальто на-
It's very comfortable.
Я очень
I
довольна.
also like the color.
Я считаю,
Of course, such a cape coat is not an essential,
нет первой необходимости в гардеробе. Но иногда что-то нам надо
but it can be suitable for some cases. Instead of knitted cardigans, for example,
палантины эти особенно
you can make one cape for several seasons.
мешают, потому что это
Be creative. Combine it with casual garments and you will look stylish.
быть одна на несколько лет в гардеробе.
That's all for today. Let's be different and beautiful every day together.
Да, вот надо во что.
My name is Irina Paukshte.
Я всем желаю
Buy my courses, subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support.
хорошего с вами.
Thank you. Goodbye.